Hey Megan, I'm so
How's
glad
it
to connect
going?
with you. It's
Yeah, it's great.
great to see you again. So thanks for letting us record this interview so Engineering 5 could get to know you better.
Sure.
And what I would like you to talk about is I have some questions. Basically, I want to know what your path was from high school through Cabrillo and where you are now at Arizona State, and things that you did during the way to learn more about engineering and broaden your skills and help define what you wanted to do in engineering.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, you can
Okay.
start.
So I started high school over at Scotts Valley High. There, I was never really good at school, just wasn't interested in it. I had a hard time with math and science. Um, and so I think, after high school, I really had no idea what I wanted to do, where it felt funny because everybody else did. And so I also financially was a really big struggle too, just going straight into college. So instead of going into college, I decided to take a year off and I worked over at the Hilton in Scotts Valley as a room server. And so that in and of itself was a crazy experience, lots of late nights and hard working. But from there, I was able to save up enough money to get myself a car. And then I was thinking, okay, I need to go back to school. Like, I got to do something instead of waitressing forever. So I signed up for Cabrillo. I started out taking pretty simple classes, kind of the basic GE classes. So I took a lot of English because I felt really comfortable with that, reading and writing. I enjoyed that. And then I started kind of taking other classes like astronomy. What else did I take? I took a vet science class, which was really fun. I've always loved animals. Um, Later on, I was like, okay, got to start taking math class now too, or I'm going to forget everything. And I think at that point, I was about 4 years out of high school. And so I knew that was going to be super rusty. So I took the placement test that Cabrillo had at the time, and I placed into a very low algebra class. So that wasn't that great feeling considering I was in pre-calc at the end of high school, but I knew I had to start somewhere. So I started there, and the class had us walk through the STEM Center on one of the first days of class, where you can get help for tutoring or, for any science, physics, math, pretty much anything. So I used that a lot for tutoring. I met so many really cool people there that just being around really exciting people who love math and who love science and how they explain it. And you can just see in their personality that they just like love it so much and they're able to explain it really, really amazingly, where it made me to a point where I said, I want to be like that. I want to be excited. I want to be smart. I want to help other people understand tough concepts. And so I continued with math. And then I said, you know what? Why don't I challenge myself and try engineering? Because no way in my mind would I have ever thought I'd go into engineering when I was back in high school. It was definitely just something, out of the blue that I figured, you know what? I can do this. Just really wanting to challenge myself. So I signed up for Joanne's engineering. What is it? 1A? Oh, engineering 5. Okay. And so from there, I learned so many different types of engineering. And I kind of started thinking about maybe I should go into mechanical engineering, um, because I thought it would be the easiest one was my initial thought process. Which one could be the easiest engineering? But in reality, none of them are easy. They're all challenging in their own ways. So I kind of thought about that for a little bit longer. In the meantime, while I was taking that class, I also took a marine biology course with Nicole Crane at Cabrillo. She is the best professor, second to Joanne. I love Nicole. She's so cool. One of her labs that we had to do, we went down for a field trip to Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Center in Moss Landing. And that's where they do a lot of remote operated vehicles underwater, autonomous vehicles, lots of ocean science. And so during our walkthrough, I got to see some of their ROVs that they used, and I was just amazed. I wanted to build that. So from there, I kind of created a better relationship with Nicole Crane personally. I became her TA for one of her classes the next 2 semesters. So that really helped out build a more of a personal relationship. And then from there, she contacted me to one of the engineers at Mbari because she knew I was really interested in that. And so she contacted me with Jared Figurski, and he works on the mooring 1 that's right in the middle of our bay. It does a lot of just basic everyday collection of water temperature, salinity. Sometimes some of the other scientists will want to add their engineered piece of equipment to test whatever they may be testing out onto that mooring. And so we would work a lot of the times with those scientists. And so I did that during the summer of 2019. That was a great experience. I got to work with my hands a lot. I got to be on boats like every other day, which was really cool. I met a lot of really amazing ocean engineers, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers while being on the boats and off the boat. So kind of after that, I got to meet Rob Weiland at Cabrillo. He teaches the circuits class. He is a really cool human being. He works over at USGS as well, which is on the west side of Santa Cruz. He
Hey,
is
Megan,
yeah.
let me just interrupt for a minute. So Rob teaches statics,
Oh,
not
static.
circuits. And I believe it was initially you met him through the job shadowing, right? The interview and engineer assignment in engineering 5, was that right?
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, that was
Okay.
a while ago. You put me in
Yeah.
contact with him for one of the projects we had to do in engineering 5.
Yeah. So I wanted to interject that just because you're speaking to the engineering 5 class and they're going to be able to interview an engineer at some point.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm going to
definitely.
mute myself again.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you're interested in ocean engineering, Rob is a good one to interview. So kind of while I was at the facility over at USGS with him, asking my questions for my report, at the end, he walked me through, I was just expressing how interested I am in this field of work. And so he offered me an opportunity to work with him as well as some of the other engineers and do an internship over the summer. So mine was it was a little interesting working with USGS because it's a government facility where paperwork is a little slow. So I actually ended up starting late summer and I went into the semester and I worked with him up until December of 2019. So right after my Mbari internship, I started over at USGS, and it was just a really nice transition to see 2 different fields of ocean engineering. So during my time with him, I got to go on a really amazing trip and work with some of the scientists there to do ocean acidification as well as sediment flow. This internship was also more on the mechanical side, where I worked a lot with tools and just big metal structures to hold the instruments onto, and a little bit of boating as well. So that in and of itself was pretty amazing. Got to meet some really neat people. And then after that, I just continued with my classes at Cabrillo. By this point, I was at Cabrillo for about 5, maybe almost 6 years. And although I was making progress with my classes, I did feel a little stuck. So I just felt a little stuck mentally, just kind of being in the same space. I was still having a hard time financially because of the classes at Cabrillo. You know, you can take a math class 8 a.m. in the morning, but sometimes your physics class might be midday. And so that was really hard to keep consistent hours, and enough hours to make a decent paycheck to, pay for rent or something like that. So I started looking online at different opportunities that I can do for myself. Um, I'm pretty motivated to get school done, even though it does take some time depending upon, how you work. So I was looking online just for online degrees, to be quite honest. I've taken a few online classes from Cabrillo and I really enjoyed them. I just kind of enjoyed the ability to be super flexible with myself, but also kind of experience myself and my own personality as to how I can interact with my own schoolwork and how I can be organized for myself. And so that taught me a lot about, just grown up responsibilities about getting stuff in on time and knowing your due dates. So from that research, I found Arizona State University. And so I applied for their electrical engineering degree. And so the reason why I went from mechanical to electrical engineering was because even though I really enjoyed working with my hands, especially through those two internships at Embari and USGS, I really wanted to do something a little bit deeper. I wanted to be kind of a part of creating the robots in more of a computer way. So a little bit from how I chose electrical engineering is my dad is a printed circuit board designer. So he's always been really into electronics. And even though I've kind of slumped that off, like I never really wanted to be same career field as my dad until recently, just because being able to kind of challenge myself for, coding, circuit design, all of that was definitely something that I wanted to try doing. So I chose electrical engineering and I got into Arizona State University for their complete online program. So I started that. When did I start that? I started that spring of 2020. And so since then, I've just kind of been working on that, just going through the motions and going through each class. I think it probably takes about the same amount of time as going through Cabrillo, just the amount of classes I'm able to finish, with a good grade, of course. So from that, I didn't really have a job. I worked with Joanne during summer of 2019. I helped her out with some papers and some student resources for transferring and classes like that. So she helped me out a ton. I worked with Sarah Dub in the student academic field like that. So that was a really interesting job. So it was just nice to be able to have resources like Joanne or like Nicole Crane, where I had a good relationship with them to be able to work with them. And that helped a lot, being able to take my classes, but then work on campus as well. So I definitely advise trying to find a campus job if that fits your scope. That helped out a lot. But when I wanted to transfer to Arizona, I knew I needed to find something different because I wouldn't be able to commute to Cabrillo as much. Oh, sorry, I got a dog. But anyway, so oh, you know what? Joanne, I'm so sorry.
No, that's funny because I thought it was our dog.
Oh,
That's yours. So
do
yeah,
you mind if I put him outside real quick?
No, not at all.
Okay,
I'll just talk.
Okay.
Actually, what am I going to talk? Ah, there's the dog. So it's really a great idea to get any kind of support services you need at Cabrillo, whether it's on-campus job, whether it's financial aid, whether it's scholarships, whether it's tutoring. Just all that stuff is all there for you for free. Okay, Megan's back.
Okay, sorry. Working from home and dogs don't mix very well sometimes. Yeah, so when I decided to go to Arizona, I knew I needed to find a different job because, of course, university is a lot more expensive than community college. So I was kind of just looking for not really anything, but definitely something that's in the field of electrical engineering, because I like to be able to work kind of in the same field as what I'm learning. That can be sometimes really hard to find because you're still learning it. So a lot of people are like, well, you don't know anything. We don't really have time or money to show you how to. So just finding opportunities like that can be hard. But I was pretty persistent online, just looking for something. And I was just kind of applying for anything, just putting my resume out there randomly. And I found this job called Logic over in Santa Clara. They had an electrical engineering position open. And so even though I don't have my degree, not close, I applied anyway. And because of my internships from Embari and USGS, I was able to stand out. So having really cool internships like that you yourself really enjoy help a lot in the long run. So I was able to do a phone interview with him, and he basically said, "You're really cool. We love how interested you are in engineering and just how passionate you are. We love your experience from your internships and just how diverse you are. But you're super junior electrical engineer," because I didn't have those classes. And so he said, "I can't give you the job, but I'd be happy to give you a paid internship." And so I said, yes. That was an awesome moment for me. Just being able to be offered an internship, being able to learn what I want to learn and be paid for it. So I did that over the summer. I designed my first printed circuit board. So I learned some basics of circuits and a whole lot of programming. That I think was the hardest part and took up most of the summer. But it was awesome because we had, even though with COVID started right after, a week right after I started my internship, we all had to go home and work from home. I was able to use Altium as a printed circuit board design software. And then we also used STM32 Cube software to program our chip that we used for our robot. And so basically just did circuit design and mainly coding and programming all throughout the summer to get our robots working. And so that internship ended about September, just because, working from home, you can kind of do internship and school pretty easily sometimes. So I did a little bit of both for a while. And then he asked me, your internship is over. Would you like to stay on as a junior electrical engineer and, learn some techniques, being a technician in the lab, and, kind of being a sidekick to some of the other electrical engineers on the projects that they work on? And I said, yes. And so I'm still doing that today. It's amazing. It's given me the ability to pay for my college classes. I have tried to get, what are they called, Joanne? Where you apply for scholarships. Sorry, my brain. I have tried to apply for scholarships, but kind of seeing most of the scholarships really only apply for full-time students. And right now I'm part-time, being able to pay for it. I can't apply for too many, so there's not that many options out there for me right now, specifically for Arizona State University. But having this job has helped that dynamic, given me the ability to learn my material and then apply it in the real world. So it's pretty interesting also too, kind of seeing the differences in what they teach you in class and what they actually do in real life. It's not too different, but there are some differences that I've noticed that were pretty funny. But yeah, just kind of floating through, doing school and working at Logic.
Cool. All right,
Yeah.
Megan, I have some more questions.
Yeah.
So one is, now that you've had all this experience and some exposure, do you know what your career path is? Do you know what you'd like to be doing? Or maybe you have some options of where, the types of companies you'd like to work at. And then the other question I have for you is, since you're presenting to the Engineering 5 new engineering students, what would you tell them that you wish you did differently? when you started out?
Yeah, definitely. So, future career goals, I mean, it's definitely still open. Just from the time I graduated till now, it's amazing how many doors open for yourself when you do put yourself out there, when you put your resume out there, when you express interest, when you express, passion. Even though you might not have the knowledge, it's really important to share with others how interested you are in things. And they will open the doors for you because most people like Joanne or Jared Fitgursky are willing to help young people and, finding new things to try out. And so a lot of doors opened for me. Some, I walked through and others I closed just because the timing of them. But career goals, I don't really know. I mean, I'd be happy to stay at a logic for the next few years and really cement my knowledge. Um, but to be quite honest, I think my end goal would be to go back to Embari someday and be an electrical engineer and work on those ROVs and AOVs. And then some things that I would probably would love to try to go back and change, which I know it's hard for some people to do and to realize is, at a young age, right when you graduate, that it's good to challenge yourself, that you shouldn't feel like you can't do anything just because you didn't do good in high school. That it's just really important to give yourself that confidence and to always just hype yourself up and just know that if you try your best, things will open for you and paths will show themselves. Um, so I think really, if I could go back, I'd probably just go, right after high school, just go straight into school, just keep up my math. Definitely always keep up with your math, start my physics. Physics is pretty hard, so probably getting through it earlier would have been lovely for me. I'm still doing physics right now. But yeah, I think that would be really the biggest thing that I would have changed is just uh, being confident in myself and just know that I want to challenge myself and just go for it. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Megan. I so much appreciate you sharing your story and your path with the Engineering 5 students.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having
So,
me.
okay, I'm gonna shut off the recording right now, and then I just want to talk to you a little bit more.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, hang on.